Good morning, everyone. And I suppose one should say, Kusu Zangpol La. Zangpol La. And really honored to be here. See some people who are even very, very good teachers of my own, Dobotuko here, and many friends. I hope that I can offer a few reflections. Tanya Singer, I'm sure, would have been a far better person to take the first place. She is a long-term scientist involved with mindfulness and compassion. She is a Mind and Life inspiration. I'm on the board of Mind and Life in Europe, so in some ways my ideas this morning will reflect not so much my own, well, to some degree my own research, but also the kind of work that's going on today in the area of meditation, neuroscience, and philosophy, and applying that to the challenges presented by artificial intelligence. So I hope this is helpful in some way. Overwhelmed by the extraordinary progress in data processing made by AI systems in recent years, some speculative thinkers have extrapolated a situation in which the highest human aspirations could be fulfilled with assistance from or collaboration with artificial intelligence. Some even speak of the fusion of the human mind with AI, without as yet linking that proposal to the kind of contemplative training that the great Jetsun Milarepa, for example, taught his disciples so that they might blend their minds with everything that is manifesting in the field of perception. These speculations are unfortunately based on a misunderstanding about the way the mind has come into being. A manufactured system, even one that can learn and improve itself, has undergone an evolutionary track that is dramatically different from both biological and human evolution. For this reason, the advice that an AI might offer to the person seriously committed to a spiritual quest, and obviously here we're not talking about someone diligently writing a paper for their psychology class, okay? This is something else, all right? Will inevitably reflect the limitations of its own manufactured evolution, the artificially contrived and selected information inputs, and the interactions that the AI has already had with other AI systems and human interlocutors, all of which are going to have their unique perspectives and interpretations of the data. We notice the following, just a little quote from a BBC article. This new system of AI they're talking about is a large language model, or LLM, similar to OpenAI's ChatGPT and Google's Gemini. The systems are fed huge amounts of data and trained to spot patterns within it. They use this data to create passages of text by predicting the next word in a sequence. Despite the systems being labeled intelligent, critics argue LLMs do not think, have no understanding of what they produce, and confidently present errors as fact. Tech companies argue that they need more data to make the systems more reliable. And in this little paragraph, you begin to see some of the problematic aspects that need to be addressed. AI is inevitably a mirror of the collective efforts of human minds of a certain type and background to gather and interpret information. It is lacking, however, in the category of experience, since it can only imitate the way human beings express awareness of experience, memory, and embodiment. The absence of embodiment and sensory input places severe limits on these constitutive elements of cognition. Unfortunately for an AI system, any input about transcendent or mystical experience will have to be hearsay evidence with no basis in the actual track record of the AI device. In the evolution of an AI system, what constitutes growth or maturation is restricted to the volume of data acquired from other similar sources of information. Information technology was built on the notion that a brain is a device for processing discrete bits of information through comparison and correlation. There is no moral content and no basis for ethical constraints or restraints. Indeed, no bodhisattva commitment. Whatever else it may entail, contemplation is about direct experience of transcendent reality. It is the outcome of certain kinds of mind training and practice based on experience and the training relationship between master and disciple. It is also a state or condition at the ground of consciousness itself, which is why some traditions speak of knowing or recognizing the state that has always been present, even if covered over with mistaken thought patterns. AI, by contrast, is a mass of data organized to imitate the ordinary thought patterns of a very intelligent person in a highly restricted way. You've all heard, I think, of the so-called hard problem. All right, the hard problem: how does consciousness arise from a material matrix, from a brain, right, from the evolution of the nervous system? This has been taken up by a number of authors in our Mind and Life world. Michel Bitball, Evan Thompson, and others have taken this up. Evan Thompson has written a very substantial book, Mind in Life, all right, published in 2010, more recently than that, 2024, on the very subject. Now, does consciousness, therefore, arise from a complex sequence of interactions within the tissues of a mammalian brain, or is consciousness a prior condition for the possibility of the very existence of matter and energy and their complex interactions? If the latter, then AI can never really be conscious. This is what Michel Bitball argues. Reflecting on both the perspective of the Japanese Kyoto school, which brought together German philosophy and Zen practice, and the phenomenological tradition in Europe, Michel Bitball reminds us of the problem of pure, undifferentiated experience, which must be addressed before we can approach the hard problem. He says, pure experience, in the sense of Nishida, the founder of the Kyoto school, pure experience has no meaning, no intentional polarity, unlike the elaborated consciousness that Husserl spoke of. It is simply there, naked, uninterpreted, and uninterpreting. It is because they do not give enough importance to this ultimate level of being that many scientific researchers and philosophers of mind remain plunged into confusion when they speak of consciousness. For if one can legitimately envision a future explanation by neuroscience of the cognitive functions attributed to consciousness, then pure experience, which has no function but a simple presence, offers no object accessible to their methods. The current pure experience of researchers remains the unspoken presupposition and the blind spot of all knowledge. Let me just give you a little tiny example. Have you ever woken up early in the morning, all right? You people who meditate far better than I do. And before you're ready to get out of bed, and there's a little bit of a moment in which your body is very still, and you don't want to move, and you don't want to think, and there's no complication, and you're just there.